Coming to you live in a world where Andy is on time for recording.
Hey!
This is Jailbreak Weekly, episode number 19. I'm Justin Wack, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, Andy Hoff.
Yeah, I was on time. I'm usually not on time. Sometimes I fall asleep and don't show up for an hour, so yay for me.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying we came to you live in a world where Andy was on time.
I know.
We are literally in the world where Andy is on time.
It's awesome.
He got super hyped up on, what was it, ice cream and marshmallows, Andy?
Yeah, I ate a bunch of ice cream and marshmallows to try to sugar spike myself.
By the way, that other amazing voice you hear is my other co-host, Mr. David Burns. How's it going, David?
It's going pretty good. I'm excited to record. I'm hyped up on adrenaline right now because I'm kind of tired, but yeah, it's always great to record with you guys.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. We have a good show. We're going to talk about some some tweaks. We also have some stories about our technology crises. So.
Some interesting stories about technology. If you guys notice I sound any different, I apologize. My microphone decided it was gonna crap out, and yeah. But anyway, we'll get to that later in the show.
Yeah. Well, as a result of that, we decided to kind of do a little bit of fun stories on the show this week.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a huge amount of news, so we figured. Well, that's coming up later in the show. So right now, what do we got going on in the tweak world, Andy?
It's looking pretty good. We've seen a lot of new releases. Also, of course, Springtomize 3 was actually updated for iOS 9. So I guess that's what we'll talk about first. So we did briefly mention this last week, but yeah. So basically, it was back then. We had word that Springtomize for iOS 9 was in the works, but it's finally been released. So it's out in Cydia right now, the update for iOS 9. And yeah, I have it installed right now. It's absolutely amazing. I was one of those people that I always used the tweak. Whenever it was updated, I played around with it, but I always forget when I don't have it for a while and then I have it again. I just realize how much I love this tweak. How I question myself and I think how did I live without this before? So it's really nice to have it back. Did you guys get a chance to check this out?
Yeah, I did. Sorry. I just wanted to say, before we continue, I needed to tell you guys, well, not needed to tell you, but I needed to just put this in here. I needed to say this is exactly what Andy was feeling like when, the whole iPhone 6S thing was happening. Oh, should I get it? Should I not get it? And then he was like, I don't really need it. And then all of a sudden, when he saw the rose gold one, he was like, I want it so badly.
Yeah, that's exactly how it is with Springtomize. And that's always the way it is. I don't have it for a while. I don't think I need it because I have all these other tweaks. But it's just so nice to have everything in one place. It's just awesome.
So I don't know. I've never really been into Springtomize because I've never really been into customizing that kind of stuff. And I mean, I recognize the value of the tweak. I mean, it has tremendous value, and look, it's been a staple in the community for a long time.
Right, this is like another barrel, really, like we said.
Yeah. This tweak has been a staple in this community for a long time. So I mean, credit to Filippo, who was the original creator. Speaking of that, who's the new guy in charge of?
He goes by Shared Routine online.
Okay.
And yeah, he has some other tweaks of his own, so he's a pretty reputable jailbreak developer.
Okay, yeah. So he's yeah. Okay, so interesting. So did they add any new features, or was it just updates?
I think it was just a port for iOS 9. So they basically took everything that was there and made it compatible with iOS 9.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, pretty much. But again, everything's again been updated and everything works perfectly fine. It's amazing. Yeah, just to I like to shrink down the icons. Occasionally, I like to have smaller icons. I like to remove the labels sometimes too. And again, I just like having all of this at my disposal. It's nice to have one page on your device where you could just see pretty much everything. Yeah, everything jailbreak-ish related. Obviously there's obviously new tweaks that come out every day, but everything, kind of the more classic things you could do. I don't know, for example, resizing icons, adding cover flow, changing how many rows of icons, just kind of those classic jailbreak things. It's nice to have all those things in one place, basically.
Right.
If you know what I mean.
I used to use Springtomize back when they had the folder limits.
Right.
And they said you could only have 12 apps in a folder. I used to use Springtomize, and I would put like 40 apps in a folder, but yeah, like they lifted that, and it kind of just that was the only reason I had Springtomize installed on my device. But like I again, staple in the community. Props that they updated it because, and props to Filippo as well because he could have just as easily said like, you know what, I'm not gonna be able to develop this, so I might as well
Right.
just let it die. But I mean, this is a guy that you can tell like this is a guy that cares about the community because he cares enough to give this tweak over to
Oh
someone
yeah, definitely.
that updated it. So I just want to take a moment to recognize what he has done as well.
Right.
Absolutely.
And then also too, another thing that I thought that was pretty cool, and going off if he cares about the community, he, when this went live on Cydia, he was on Twitter saying, this is live. Thank you so much to Shared Routine, who's taken over the project, because obviously, for whatever reason, he didn't disclose. I'm not able currently to work on the project to update it for iOS 9 to, add new features to it. So Shared Routine's taking it over for now. So, props to him, whatever. So it's pretty cool that he, that he cares about the community that much, that he kind of, just gave it a little bit of a shout out there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. And again, it's available in City. If you had the iOS 8 version, I just wanted to quickly throw this in. If you had the iOS 8 version, it's a free update, which is awesome.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah.
I'd imagine a lot of work was put into this for the update, so it's amazing that it's free. But for new users, it's $2.99, I believe. Let me just quickly double check on that. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I believe
$2.99.
it's, yeah, $2.99.
So did it stay at the same price range that it was for New
Yes.
Year's for iOS 8?
Yeah, I believe it's
Okay.
the barrier to entry is the same
Right.
exact thing, $2.99. So yeah, once again, definitely go check that out if you're Springtomizer.
Right.
Springtomizer.
Yeah.
And don't pirate it. Please
Yeah.
don't pirate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely support, Filippo, support Shared Routine, support Filippo for the idea, but Shared Routine for, carrying it out for iOS 9. And I think, I don't know if he was the guy that did 8.4, but I would assume so. I'd assume it's probably
Yeah.
the same guy.
Well, I mean, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
So basically, here's what I think about this tweak is I've loved the tweak ever since, when it first came onto the scene back in iOS 4 or 5 days.
I think
don't
it was
even know.
4. Yeah.
Yeah. So this tweak has been around for a long time, and I've loved it ever since. But it's been a great tweak, Springtomize 3 as a whole, because Springtomize 3 has been around for what now 3 iOS iterations, right? Because
Yeah.
started on 7 and we had it for 8 and now 9. So it's been 3 iterations so far. I don't know if they'll do a 4. I'm guessing they'll probably do a Springtomize 4 for iOS 10 when and if that becomes, jailbroken, just because I feel like, we can go and speculate iOS 10 when that gets closer, because obviously WWDC isn't for, a little while longer, so we're not
Yeah.
going to be seeing iOS 10 or any rumors of iOS 10 for at least a few months. But I do definitely think that iOS 10 is going to bring some big changes to iOS. So I don't know if they're going to do Springtomize 4 or if it's just going to be like it's been, before with the Springtomize 3 update for iOS 10 compatibility. So
I think it depends on. I think rather than it depending on the iOS version, with 10, 11, 12, etc. I think it depends on the amount that's changed in the iOS. For example, the reason there was Springtomize 3 for iOS 7 was because iOS 7 was a huge overhaul going from 6. So if 10's a huge overhaul, I would imagine it'd be a new version of the tweak. But yeah, I just think it depends on how much of the OS has changed.
Yeah.
That's what I would guess at least.
Yeah. Going back to what I said a little earlier when I said, don't pirate the tweak. In a speech at JailbreakCon 2013,
14, I think.
or
Actually.
sorry, yeah, my bad, 2014.
right.
Filippo was saying that 92% of copies of Springtomize are pirated. So, I mean,
That's a huge chunk of, the
yeah,
people that are
and
installing
Yeah,
it.
it's ridiculous to be
Yeah.
honest with you. Yeah.
it's for lack of a better term, it's kind of a pandemic around the community.
Yeah.
And it needs to stop. And Springtomize is the example that I use here
Right.
because look at all the work that and that's been put in over the years and stuff, and people
Right.
don't recognize that. But yeah, I mean, by all means, go check Springtomize out. It's great that it's been updated, and yeah, hopefully you guys will get some use out of it. I know I'll probably install it at some point. I can imagine for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, for sure. So, yeah. So once again, $2.99, and it's free if you have the old version. So next up, we have a tweak called Appendix. This is available for free. And basically what this does is it allows you to 3D touch on a folder, and it lets you launch the first 4 apps in that folder directly from like the shortcuts 3D touch view. So normally, of course, when you 3D touch on, I don't know, like an app like Safari, for example, of course, you'll get all the 3D touch shortcuts for it. Basically, when you 3D touch on a folder, again, it'll offer you the first 4 apps in the folder, but it's in that same shortcuts view.
Yeah.
And again, you just drag your finger on top of the app you want to launch, release your finger, and it opens it up. Very simple, and it's nice because Apple doesn't allow you to. They don't make any use of 3D Touch when it comes to folders, so it's nice to see that. Again, it's just a really quick way to launch apps and folders, much faster than tapping the folder and then tapping the app. So it's just nice to see that the developer of this tweak made something of 3D Touch in folders. Yeah. So what do you guys think?
So this works with 3D Touch, but also for older devices as well. Doesn't this also support older devices?
Yeah, it's really strange, and I actually highlighted this in my video too. Basically, it uses 3D Touch shortcuts. You could tell by the way that it looks. It's clearly tapping into the 3D Touch, like the UI for it. But the weird thing is it's not actually using 3D Touch. So, for example, if you have an older device that doesn't have 3D Touch, like an iPhone 6, you could still install this tweak and just tap and hold on the folder, and it'll give you the 3D Touch options. The exact same that it does on a 6S. So it's really weird because it says that it uses 3D Touch, but in reality, it just uses tap and hold, and it gives you 3D Touch options, which is strange.
But how do you move your folders around then?
Well, it's the same way. You could. Oh, yeah. So basically, you would have to, if you wanted to go into wiggle mode, you'd have to tap and hold on another app, and then you'd be in wiggle mode, and then you'd be able to rearrange your folders.
Okay.
Isn't there another? I know. I don't know if you've. I don't think you've covered this yet. I'm pretty sure you haven't covered it yet. But I think I saw something come up in our Jailbreak or just in Cydia in general. I think there was a tweak that I don't remember what it was called. It was released a little while ago where you could assign wiggle mode to be via activator to be like a different gesture. So it could be like a triple press of the home button. Could activate wiggle mode, or when you shook your device rather, it would toggle into wiggle mode.
Yeah. That sounds like something that'd be practical. So that could work, and also like you could definitely tap and hold on another app and then rearrange it, but it's still a little weird. Sometimes it still activates. So it's a little strange, but I view it as a positive thing that it's not actually 3D Touch because you can install it on an older iPhone. But,
no doubt.
Yeah, it's just kind of strange, like when it says it's 3D Touch and it's not really 3D Touch. I don't know. It's just kind of weird.
This is a kind of feature that I could totally see Apple implementing with 3D Touch.
Absolutely.
In the future.
Yeah. Now, the interesting part I was just going to say, sorry for interrupting, is the fact that they made no use case for 3D Touch in terms of folders at all. It kind of seems weird because it seems like something that would be in iOS, but they just left out for some reason.
By they, you mean Apple?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. No, see, and I think that's just kind of a operating system maturity thing. Like, look at Touch ID. I mean, Touch ID was only used for unlocking your device when it first came out, and now you can use it for, unlocking App Store. Actually, no, it supported the App Store as well, I think, when it first came out. But
yeah, on launch, I think it was App Store, and then also unlocking your phone. I think that's really all it was.
Yeah. And that's where the jailbreak stuff came in, like Bio Lockdown, Bio Protect, Virtual Home, like all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, in a sense, without the jailbreak, it's still kind of locked down, but they have opened it up a little bit for developers, where developers can actually implement certain Touch ID functions.
Yeah, like I can log in with Touch ID for like PayPal or Amazon or whatever. Yeah, but I mean, same thing with 3D Touch. Like I think there's just certain things that they didn't think about that eventually will get added in there. I think folders being one of them, because I don't know about you guys, like how you guys have your home screens set up, but like for me, I have my home screen set up with everything is in folders. Every single app is in a folder.
Oh man. This would be great for you then.
Yeah, because I have like 200 apps, right? So
wow,
but,
that's insane.
Yeah.
Isn't it only I think the one downside to this, correct me if I'm wrong, But I think doesn't it only show the first 6
Oh,
applications
it's
in
the first
the
4, as a matter of fact.
four?
Yeah, I'm
But
sorry, I
see,
should have mentioned
yeah,
first 4 apps.
no,
And
you
that's it.
specified earlier. I was first four.
Oh, I did? Okay, all right.
Yeah,
Really? Okay.
yeah. But the thing with that is that's interesting is like what I do is I actually prioritize my apps. So I put my most important apps as the first, 4, 5, 6, whatever in the folder. So
That
this is a
works.
tweak that could be very nice, I think.
Definitely.
Definitely.
Yeah, and it's something that I'm definitely going to keep installed on my device, but since I only have one folder and it's like several home screens to the right, like everything's pretty much not in folders for me. But again,
Yeah.
I'll keep it installed, and it's certainly handy. What about
Same
you,
for
David?
me. Yeah, same for me, really. I mean, I I tried to use folders. I really did when iOS 7 started out because folders were redesigned. It looked nice. I tried to use folders. I never find myself using them. I don't know. It's just when I need a certain app, it'll be on the first page of my home screen, or if not, I just have to swipe over a little bit and then I'll find it. Or it'll be in my dock because I could, extend the dock out a little bit with certain tweaks. So,
Cough,
for
cough,
that reason.
Springtomize.
Oh yeah, yeah. But I don't know. I mean, it's just like I really haven't had a use case scenario that much for folders, but um, in that case,
Yeah.
yeah, I could definitely see me using this if I did use folders.
I
Yeah,
mean, it's fair because like folders, it's 2 taps as opposed to one. You have to tap in the folder and then tap the app. But again, this is something that kind of changes that, which is cool. So,
yeah.
sorry to interrupt, Justin. What were you saying?
For a person like myself, where everything's in folders, everything is organized, and see, I do clean installs on my phone every time when I get a new iPhone. So like I have to move all my 200 apps into folders. I have to reinstall all my 200 apps, and like it's annoying.
Wow.
But so that was like a multi-hour process that I had to spread over a few days because I was busy. But yeah, so like folders are a lot of work to maintain, but I find that they're really worth it. And I mean, especially with this tweak with Appendix, I think they would, really increase productivity. I mean, that's an extra couple seconds of going into the folders. One question I have for you guys though is like, have you guys been using 3D Touch that much? Because I haven't, like straight up, like Apple's stock 3D Touch, I have not been using very much.
I have, but I haven't. I mean, I've been using Peek and Pop more than I've actually been using the shortcuts. Like I honestly just never use the shortcuts. I just don't ever find myself. I mean, I guess I could kind of stock the feature stock like the regular shortcuts is different because I really just don't use them. But sometimes like popcorn, for example, I'll use that where it's like you can, long, force press into it, and then you can get that little preview of the app.
Yeah, that's
Sometimes
it.
I'll do that, but mostly it's just peek and pop for me. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
same here.
yeah, like for me, I'm the opposite. With Peek and Pop, I don't actually use Peek and Pop really because with VoiceOver, like you might as well just open the email. To be honest, for example, like you literally might as well just open the email because it pretty much gives you the same screen. But what I will use is the shortcuts. So I will use the maps. The maps one has this unbelievable. It's like the maps one they really thought out. So if you put your address in your contact, there's a take me home button, and so it will give you directions to your house.
Oh yeah, that's
Right.
cool.
Which
Yeah.
is fantastic for me, especially because like I take Uber a lot of different places, and sometimes Uber drivers will not know the city very well, and for whatever reason, their Google Maps won't work, so they'll be like, oh yeah, I need directions. So that one's nice. And then
Right.
yeah, there's a few other shortcuts like the music app I'll use a shortcut on sometimes, but yeah, I
Only
was just
thing
kind of
with that is, and I just for and I'm surprised Andy didn't come up with this because of his whole tinfoil hat, thing. But my one concern with this would be is kind of, and this is in terms of like stock. My whole thing with this is kind of like security wise. Like if someone gets their hands on my phone and is able to unlock it and and they know well enough to be able to 3D touch and find where it says "Take me home," then that could possibly be
Oh, okay. I see what you mean.
yeah, but see that's where a jailbreak could help because like with
right,
bio with like a
right,
tweak like
yeah,
bio lockdown or bio protect.
right.
Also,
Well,
just a
I'm saying,
passcode, to be honest, right?
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. That could easily be fixed with BioProtect, BioLockdown with a jailbreak. But
Which I
without,
still can't. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, I was just gonna say without a jailbreak, it's kind of like Apple just really didn't think that
Well, I
would
mean,
fit
most
through.
people have passcodes though, so you know what I
Yeah,
mean.
but I mean, what if
Yeah,
someone takes your phone and it's unlocked, right? Like,
exactly.
Oh,
I,
well, I mean, there's a lot people could do. People could steal your bank information if you really think about it. They could go like buy stuff, you know. Like I don't know. I just think if you hand someone your unlocked device, I think that's just kind of fair. It's like
well,
fair game-ish.
you
Like
you
if
don't
it's
hand it
obviously.
to them. Like, what if you're like on the street and it gets taken out of your hands, right? Like that kind of thing.
Well,
But
I mean, then they have access to everything anyways. They have access to your email, you know. It's just like I don't know. I don't think you could criticize Apple for having an unlocked device secure, like
I,
you know, unsecure. If you know what I mean.
I still can't believe they haven't added in Touch ID on apps though in
I know
general.
it is
But
a little ridiculous, but I mean, I don't know. They probably don't want it because it clutters the experience. You know, like
not
tap
really.
I
Touch
just feel
ID,
like it
tap Touch
makes
ID.
sense. It makes sense security wise because
It does. Yeah.
it's just like it should be one of those things that's automatically just default in iOS. Like one of those things, what actually would be really interesting, it would make the setup process much longer, I'm sure. But what would be pretty interesting is they would have maybe who knows, maybe iOS 10 will introduce this. They'll have maybe a new setup screen in addition with the Touch ID where, do you want to set Touch ID, actions for this specific app, so you can go in and customize that and say, okay, well, I want, my Touch ID to be able to authenticate it for, let's say for Twitter, I don't know. And then anytime you open up Twitter, you need that fingerprint.
Yeah.
Like separate fingerprints for each thing, or
Well, yeah, no, I don't know. It could be, or it could just be all of the fingerprints that are registered, which I
right?
think is
Okay.
probably more likely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, Andy, have there been any new Touch ID tweaks for iOS 9 really or not? Not. I haven't.
No, I mean, no, I haven't
Not
seen anything
not in
that makes
terms
it.
of
Yeah.
new ones, but I have actually I have seen iOS 9 updates.
Yeah, that's a perfect segue.
Yeah.
Take it away.
Well, in case you guys didn't know, on my YouTube channel, I actually posted, and I'll have this down in the description, I actually posted a preview video of iTouchSecure for iOS 9. So this is actually not out yet. It's out for, I think it first got introduced back on iOS 7, and it works on
Yep.
7 and 8. It does not work on iOS 9 right now, but so the iOS 7 and iOS 8 version, where it'll actually work with both of those firmwares, is live on Cydia, and you can go grab that. I don't know how much it is, just off the top of my head, but yeah, you can go grab that in Cydia if you want, and you can use. Go ahead, Justin.
I believe it's $4.99.
I can't check because it says unavailable
Yeah,
purchase
same.
because I'd never
Same.
bought it.
Yeah,
It might be
Never used
cheaper.
it.
Don't quote me on that one, but I believe it's $4.99.
right. But okay, so anyway, so the iOS 9 version of this tweak, there's no ETA of when it'll launch on Cydia, but it probably won't be too long, just considering the fact that this really, from the looks of it anyway, I checked, you guys can watch my review. There's really nothing new. It just brings iOS 9 compatibility. But really the big thing with me is that I never used this tweak before, at all, because I didn't have a Touch ID device until the iPhone 6S. So I've been, super excited with all the new, not even really new, but all the new, for me, all the new, tweaks, all the new Touch ID tweaks that I've been able to use. iTouchSecure, Virtual Home, all those fantastic Touch ID tweaks. So, I've just been having a lot of fun with those, and seeing that, iTouchSecure, that everyone raved about that when it first came out, that, oh, iTouchSecure is so awesome, and, I use it all the time, and this and this and that. And, I just was like, okay, it seems like a cool idea, but I just have never used it before because I'm not able to.
Right.
So being able to use it for the first time is kind of a different experience, in the sense where if I was able to use it on 7 and 8, I probably wouldn't be too excited. Like, I'd be excited about, getting it for iOS 9, but probably not as excited as I am now, because, this is the first time that I'm using it. But anyway, yeah, so there's a review of this on my channel, a preview video on my YouTube channel. We'll have that in the description below. What do you guys think about this tweak? Because I know, like I said, it's been around for a few iOS iterations already. I know a lot of people have raved about it. It's a pretty good tweak. What do you guys think?
It's one of those things. It's an amazing idea. It's perfect. Basically, yeah. So I mean, I think you described what it did. So basically, it autofills. So whenever there's an instance when you could put in a password, basically what this tweak does is after you enter that password once after the tweak's installed, it's going to basically allow you to log in to that account or to that area of iOS using your fingerprint as the password.
Yeah.
So basically once you enter the password in once, it's gonna basically remain in the local keychain, so your Touch ID fingerprint will basically serve as the password. So I think it's a really good idea for things like Instagram. If you log out of your Instagram account, you log back in, or for pretty much any account, Twitter, anything like that.
Yeah.
Again, you could just quickly scan your thumb and it'll just log in. But the thing is, as it's a really good idea, I personally wouldn't have a use case for it because everything on my device is already logged in. Like my Twitter is auto logged in whenever I launch up the app. It's pre-logged in. Same thing with Mail, YouTube. So it's an amazing idea, but there's just not really a space for it on my device, or not really a use case for it because again, everything's logged in.
Well, there's a few things I wanted to highlight with this. One of it being that basically, in order for this to function, which is really great because it takes out a step of, well, you have to register this and you have to register that. Basically, as long as you have a Touch ID device, because if you don't, then there's really no point in installing this because then you can't use it. But yeah, so as long as you have a Touch ID device and you have Touch ID enabled, it'll actually pull all of your Touch ID fingerprints from what you have registered in iOS.
Yeah.
And we'll use that in conjunction with this tweak. So there's no setting it up. It just basically really works automatically.
No, it just works,
type in the password once, and then once you type it in, you just press and hold, and boom. So.
Yeah, I actually I had this tweak on my 6 with 8 and my 5S with 7. In fact, it's installed on both of them still to this day. So definitely looking forward to the iOS 9 update for this tweak.
Right. Yeah. Another thing I wanted to talk about too is that I was just going to highlight that Andy and I were on Periscope earlier, and we're having a repeat of this because we did this, like 6 hours ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, we talked about like everything about iTouchSecure earlier. It's just kind of funny that we're doing it again. But you know what? That was rehearsal, and this is the real thing.
This is the real thing. Yeah.
This is the Superslam.
Yeah. In case you guys don't understand the reference to that, that was a big thing on last week's podcast. So make sure to go check that out if you don't know what we're talking about.
Yes. But again, once again, iTouchSecure, it's available for how much? I think you guessed it $4.99. But don't quote me on this.
Yeah, don't quote any of us on that. But that's how much I thought it was.
I'm gonna look. Let's see. iTouchSecure. Let's see here. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, it's not on there. So I'm gonna try to look here. I think it's, let's see, release.
Okay. It was either $4.99 or $3.99, I think.
$4.99. Yeah, it's on Big Boss's repo for $4.99, non-upgrade, standard price.
All right, cool.
Hey,
all right, nice.
Right, I'm actually shocked. I remembered the price of a Jailbreak tweak that I bought.
Yeah, so that should be out soon. Alrighty, so next up we have Andro Lock. This is available for $1.49, and this is interesting. Basically, it's going to theme your lock screen in a very similar way to Android. So basically, the way that it works is at the bottom of your screen you have some new options. Basically, on the bottom left corner you have a phone app. In the middle you have a little lock icon, which you could just tap and it'll unlock your device. So you don't have to slide; you can just tap it. And then on the far right, the right corner, you have the camera shortcut. And you could slide these icons up, which is pretty cool. So with the phone app, you could just swipe it up, and it gives you the same animation that the camera gives you normally, the camera grabber. But again, it'll open up the phone app, and of course, you also have the camera grabber on the other side. And yeah, it also it themes the passcode view and notifications. It's a very extensive tweak. It themes pretty much the entire lock screen to look like iOS 9, look like Android. And it relocates the time and the date to the middle of the or towards the middle of the screen, not towards the top like iOS. It also has a MIDI player for music, the themes that looks very similar to Android. The passcode buttons, if I didn't already mention that, it's just very extensive Android mimicking lock screen theme. So, what do you guys think about this?
Man.
I feel like we've seen this before, but
Yeah.
We've seen similar things before.
I'm not too excited about this, to be honest. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I don't love Android. I definitely think I am going to probably try it out, and maybe I'll make a review on it because it seems like people do like it. But I don't know. It's just like we've seen this too often, where it's just like Android this, Android that. I don't know. It's just like look, it's jailbroken iOS, and that's the reason why I love it, and that's the reason why I'm guessing a lot of other people love it, is because it's jailbroken iOS, it's customizable. You could do what Apple doesn't want you to do and customize it to whatever you want. So that's, for that reason alone, I do like that. I do like this tweak for that reason, because it makes it iOS customizable in the sense that if for whatever reason you probably would have an Android phone if you want it to look like an Android. But if for whatever reason you don't have access to an Android phone.
I disagree with that, because what if you like everything about iOS except for the lock screen?
That's true.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know.
And the same thing kind of with me, David. I'm not incredibly excited about this. I mean, yeah, I'm an iOS user, so I don't really crave Android things, but it's something that I think it's definitely deserves to be talked about, because it's because it's one of those things. Again, when you jailbreak your device, you're unlocking it so you could do whatever you want with it. And I think that having the ability to mimic other platforms is a very important aspect of jailbreaking, being able to do whatever you want with your device. And by the way, if you go into the settings, you don't have to have the whole thing. You could disable and enable certain portions of it.
Yeah.
So there's tons of options. So there's notification cells, music MIDI player, press to unlock button, camera / app phone grabbers, push date down view, passcode background view, push down passcode view, style passcode buttons.
There's a lot of options. Wow.
Yeah, and it's all great because it's customizable. You could disable all those things, enable, and there's much more. So Justin, what do you think about this tweak?
Yeah, you know what? I think this is a good tweak, and you guys got to keep in mind there is definitely that segment out there of the population in this community.
Yeah, I was going to say there probably is a demographic out there.
There's definitely a demographic, yeah.
And I have to commend. I'm sorry for interrupting again, but I do have to major props commend this developer. Do we know who it is? I think it's Logan something, right?
Yeah, Logan O'Connell.
Right. So I think he's done a few other Android-style tweaks in the past, but I do have to commend him because it probably took a decent amount of work to get all of the, and especially since it sounds like all of this customizability is available for the tweak. It just sounds like it was a lot of work. So
yeah, and also like for pure utilitarian reasons, like if you look at this tweak, it is actually superior to the iOS lock screen, because on the iOS lock screen, you only have, unlock button, which you have to slide, which is a little more of a nuisance than, tapping it. And you also have the camera. You don't have a phone app on the iOS lock screen. So that's...
Right, and the way that it opens, how you swipe up, it's very intuitive, and it feels very native.
Yeah.
So it's cool. It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and see, that's the thing. Like, if you guys are looking at pure utilitarian reasons, this tweak is definitely something that could be worth installing. I really do think that, because especially with the phone, like, it's kind of annoying to have to go and tell Siri, call this number, or unlock my phone, go to the phone app, and then dial the number, or go to my contacts app, find the contact I want. Like,
I mean, there are other tweaks that let you launch the phone app, but again, it does it in a very elegant way, which is really nice.
Speaking of Siri, we have a funny story. I don't know if you want to talk about this now or later, Andy. What happened when we were FaceTiming?
Oh no, yeah. This is a perfect time. Just go ahead and say it.
Okay, so anyway, Andy and I were FaceTiming earlier, and we were periscoping. I'm sorry, Justin, for not including you, but because I feel like you were like, "Oh, you never include me," but I'm sorry. Anyway,
It's okay.
We'll include you next time, I promise. I don't understand how this happens, but something always ends up happening when Andy and I are on FaceTime. I don't get it. But anyway, so I don't know. Oh, I remember how it happened. So we were talking, and Siri was being dumb, and it thought that I said, hello, Siri. I'm not going to say the actual one because I don't want everyone's devices to go off.
Hey, Siri.
If they don't have a success. But yeah, so it thought I said hello Siri, and because it thought I said hello Siri, it automatically went da-da, and it it popped up with Siri, and then it said whatever, and I was just like, I don't know why I did that, and then I was like, hello Siri, tell me a joke, and then it said like, I don't know, I can't think of anything funny, ha ha, but in the text it said ha ha, but it was like an actual human.
It was so creepy. Siri had a human-like laugh, and it was one of the creepiest things I've heard in my life. It's
really weird. Like
I've never heard her actually laugh.
I'm demoing it right now. Hold on.
Yeah, do it. All right.
Hey Siri, tell me a joke.
David, I don't really know any good jokes.
Tell me a joke.
David, get serious.
Did you hear that?
Oh my god.
That was so.
That is creepy.
Up. David, just bleep that out, okay? Just leave it in, bleep that out.
This is a family show, Andy.
Once again, families across
This
America.
is a family show.
Families across the world are sitting down. watching this together.
Oh, by the way,
you gotta keep that in the main version this time.
It was seriously.
Yeah, hey, there you go. But I think Siri's starting to take over the world, but anyways,
seriously, Siri, yeah.
Androlock, excuse me. Once again, it's available for $1.49. It's definitely it's good at what it does, bringing that Android-inspired lock screen to iOS. All right, so next we have color switches. This is available for free. This is a very small tweak, but it's something that I'm definitely going to keep installed, so I thought I'd mention it. Basically, all this tweak does is allows you to change the color of toggles system-wide. So normally, the little toggles that are green. Basically, this tweak allows you to change that to any color. It's very simple. You go into settings for the tweak for color switches, and you have an enable switch, of course, at the top. Then you just have this little color wheel where you could choose what color you want. Very simple tweak, but it's just, again, I have a nice red toggle set up, so it's just something that I'm going to keep on my device. Obviously, Justin, this is fairly visual, or it's purely visual, as a matter of fact, so this doesn't really pertain to you. But David, do you have any thoughts on this tweak?
I mean, I don't know. It's decent. It doesn't really do much, but it is an interesting idea. I don't know. I mean, I've thought about, like, well, what would it look like?
But yeah, I mean, and look, it doesn't do much, but that's basically the reason why it's free. I mean, props to the developer for not overpricing this, because it's a free tweak. So
yeah, and again, I like it too. Like, don't get me wrong, this is a good tweak. And once again, it's available for free. Yeah. So that just about wraps up this week's tweak section. So now I guess we'll talk a little more about our technology crisis situations.
So
yes.
Okay, so this is kind of a poll question.
I guess so. Yeah.
For you guys. First of all, David, has your Apple TV broke yet? That you got, because you
No,
got a new Apple
it has
TV 4,
not.
correct?
Yes, I do have an Apple TV.
And it has not broken yet, because it seems like Jailbreak Weekly is a cursed podcast, and all of our technology seems to break recently. So.
Well, I mean, technically it's not mine. Technically it's like my family's. Like, it's not just mine. Yeah. But thankfully nothing bad has happened to it yet, and I'm hoping it stays that way, because if something bad does happen to it, my dad's probably gonna like scapegoat me and be like, David, what did you do? Like,
did you jailbreak it?
You sent it to Nido TV to see what he could do to it, and then it came back in.
Yeah, and he bricked it. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Then back to Apple. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. You jailbroke your Apple TV, even though there's no jailbreak actually out there.
Apple TV 4 jailbreak, yo. No, I'm just kidding. But no. Okay, so this is a poll, and you know what? We might put this out on Twitter later in the week or something too, just to see what you guys think of this. So, whose situation is worse?
Oh, okay.
That's hard.
Who's tech crisis? Okay, so Andy, why don't we explain what our situations are here? Because David, is David the only one who hasn't had like
A crisis.
Yeah,
No.
a crisis.
No, I've had a crisis. You guys don't remember my my keyboard story?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. But we've had
Yeah.
like two crises. Like I've had two.
Major. Like,
I've had like two in the last like.
You guys have had it
month.
pretty bad in terms
I've had
of,
two in the last
yeah.
month.
okay.
Okay. Okay.
Yes. So
okay.
Justin, I think you should start because yours is the most recent.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. So, 1 month ago, roughly, my computer decided it was going to break, as you guys may or may not have known. Now, my computer breaking is a problem because I do my like some of my courses are completely online, and I need my computer because the school's computers are too slow to handle voiceover. So, like so yeah, we had this really interesting thing where it took them 2 weeks to fix my computer because first they said, oh yeah, the battery's broken. Then they said, okay, we checked, it's a flex cable. Flex cable's broken. So we ordered a new one. So then they're like, yeah, we ordered a new flex cable. It's not the flex cable, so we need to erase and install your software. Can you back it up? I'm like, okay, sure. I'll bring a hard drive to the store so you guys can back it up. Yes, sir. We tried to back up your software, but we couldn't boot the computer, so we're gonna do another hardware test. And they're like, okay, we did another hardware test. We didn't find anything, so we need to erase and install your software again. So can we just do that without the backup? And I'm like, no, you cannot. Like, I have school assignments on there. I have hours worth of musical work on there. No, you cannot. And then they're like, I'm like, you will do another hardware test, and then come back to me because I'm not letting you erase this computer.
Yeah, that's a ridiculous thing to ask. Seriously.
So they do another hardware test. Sure enough, yes, sir, it was actually a cable connected to the logic board that broke. So, to the motherboard that broke. So yeah, we ordered a new one in. We fixed your computer. It's ready to be picked up. So I go to pick up the computer. Oh, look at this, computer won't boot. So they're like, okay, they did manage to back up my data at some point in the process. Once they, after they figured out the motherboard was broken, so they're like, or the cable connected to the motherboard was broken, so they're like, okay, we'll just erase and reinstall. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So erase and reinstall, my computer was good. But that took 2 weeks. Now, 5 minutes before the podcast, when I go to, get in the studio or whatever in my room.
Right.
Boom.
Well, this is sorry, I just wanted to say this is transitioning to another story. This is a different story.
Yes. Now, again, so this is 2 things within a month. The second thing, now, my microphone. I mute my microphone whenever I am not using it. Like whenever it's not plugged in, I mute it. It's just a thing that I have. So I muted it, and the mute switch on the mic, which is like only 3 or 4 months old, decided, hey, let's break. So mute switch breaks, and I can't use my mic. And so I'm sitting here, and I'm like, are you kidding me? First my computer breaks, and then my microphone breaks, and it's been a month.
Yeah, that's rough.
Crazy.
And to be honest with you, I'm surprised you're not going insane right now because it's just happened, And
Oh yeah, no. So
Yeah.
He was going more insane, that one time when we were podcasting when he couldn't figure out where his earbuds were.
Oh yeah,
I remember that.
No, I was looking for my Beats, my Beats, like my studio headphones.
Oh, headphones.
No, I don't use Beats in the studio, but like my Beats Studio, like the model. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, anyways, yeah, that's rough. It really is. Like, I really hope I hope this thing's under warranty because I know you said you have to check. So
Yeah,
I hope you're able to sort this out. Like, really,
yeah, I think I purchased like a 3-year warranty on it. So
Sweet.
Well, that's good. So if anything happens in the next 3 years, there you go.
yeah.
Yeah.
So now that we've provided you with your dose of horror, let's give you another one. Andy, what's happened with you?
Well, the thing is, I talked about this extensively, like when the iPhone 6s came out, but I'll just quickly go over it again. Basically, when my iPhone 6s Plus came, I literally waited all day on the porch, like with David and Justin, like on the phone. All day. It was cold, too. It was really cold, and I was there all day. In fact, I actually got sick later because of it, but Either way, okay, the UPS guy finally comes with my phone. I take it inside, I unbox it, I shoot a video, everything's great. I'm in like glory land, you know. But so then I decide that I want to restore the phone to factory settings. So I just go ahead and plug it up to iTunes, I restore it, and then
That
it
was
gets
your
stuck.
first mistake, yeah.
Yes, and then it just randomly decides it's going to get stuck in recovery mode. iTunes gave me an error, and I was like, "Oh, that's kind of strange. This is weird." Okay, so it gives me an error. You know what? I'll be like, I said, it's fine. This is okay. This happens sometimes. I'm just gonna restore it again, and everything will probably be fine. So I restored it again, and I got the same error again. I was like, okay, let's do it again. And then after that, I started to lose faith, and I started to go a little insane. I started to go a lot insane, as a matter of fact.
Did you try switching like computers at
I
all?
did. I
That
switched
was
to my Mac, same error, and at this point, I was literally, I was like about to explode. Like,
So
yeah, I was like a flame. I was like a flaming ball of insanity.
Andy, did you see fire
I did. I saw it. I saw it in the reflection.
inside the mountain?
No, I saw it on the reflection on my phone.
You didn't see fire inside the mountain? What about inside your dreams? Did you see fire inside your dreams?
Well, I was so upset that I didn't sleep.
Oh, this is a family show, Andy.
Oh my God! All this family stuff.
Look at this. Two curses.
This is an emotional. This is an emotional discussion. Okay?
So, and then what happened with your iPhone 6?
Yes. Again, I went over this earlier, so I'll try to wrap it up quickly. So, of course, I decided to call Apple support the next morning after I passed out because I was so infuriated. So I called them, and whenever I call Apple support, I intentionally sound as unknowledgeable as possible. So I called them, and I was like, I told them what happened. I told them I tried to restore the phone. I told them, it got stuck in recovery mode, and of course they asked the question, was there any jailbreaking involved? I was like, no. Well, what's jailbreaking? No, of course not. Like, what even is that? And they said, okay, all right, that's fine. And of course they weren't able to solve the problem. They basically just walked me through everything that I had, everything that I'd done already. So at that point I was like, you know what, forget it. I'm just gonna walk right into the Apple store and ask them for help. And luckily, I got this nice guy who helped me out. We tried to restore the phone. It actually restored, but it got stuck in the boot loop after. So, there's clearly something wrong with the device. I don't know if it was hardware or what, but in the strange off chance that they'd have one the day after launch, they did. They had an iPhone 6s Plus, brand new box and everything.
And it was the same color too. It was also rose gold.
Exactly the same configuration, and I was luckily able to walk out of there.
That's impressive. Because rose gold was a brand new color. So, and also the 6S Plus is, that's more popular. So the fact that the 6S Plus on rose gold, they had that. Was it the day or the day after?
It was the day after. So
okay.
No, the 6S Plus is less popular, I think, than the 6S.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying in terms of I guess I should rephrase that. In terms of the tech world, who was buying that first, most likely. I mean, there probably were a portion of people that were getting it launch day that weren't, techies like us, but probably a large portion of the people that were getting it launch day wanted it for, because they like tech and they like iPhones and stuff. So those type of people always want the best phone out there. Right. So the iPhone 6s Plus, and then also the newest color to show off, which was rose gold. So I could see how that would just fly off store shelves really fast. So it's pretty interesting how they still had some.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that I had Apple Care, and I would imagine that they keep I bought the Apple Care Plus, so I'm sure they had a inventory in the back that was specifically for people who had Apple Care, brand new phones for replacement. So I think it really paid off. It truly did, because I saw the lady. She said, like when the guy I was talking to asked, what he should do, and she said just swap it out because I had Apple Care. But if you guys want to hear the full story about the whole iPhone 6s launch for all of us, and my story and everyone's story, we'll drop that episode in the description from September, so you guys can check that out if you want to.
And
but anyways, that is my crisis. Right
that is Andy in full rant mode. Just to prepare you. Like if you do look at that description, that is Andy in full rant mode. Like
Yeah, he was pretty ticked off about what happened.
He was on fire.
I'm still pretty ticked off about it. Like I'm not even.
Oh, and
I haven't
that's
even
fair.
recovered. You know.
But
I don't think
I'm
I'll ever.
ticked off. I'm ticked off right now. See, here's the thing. I'm ticked off because like first of all my computer and then my mic, and I'm on other podcasts like besides this one, and I need that mic because I do demos and I need to hook my phone up to a mixer, and that's
Right.
the only XLR mic I have that can plug into a mixer. So essentially I can't do any demonstrations on stuff right now.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
Right.
See, that's really rough. Like I couldn't imagine if my camera broke. You know, that'd be awful. Because
Yeah.
it's the same thing I record on my videos, so it's just. Yeah, that's. I mean, to be honest with you, like I know with my phone it was bad because obviously it's a brand new phone and everything, but it's at least I still was able to record videos, so I can imagine. In some ways, it's more debilitating, you know, if you can't do your job.
Well, David, wanna
Well,
Yeah.
here we are.
Any crises for you,
any
David?
crises, David?
Yeah, there is.
Crises?
Yeah.
Crises?
Well,
Yeah, man.
yeah. So anyway, it's definitely an entertaining story, but it's not as I haven't. Okay, so I only have one story because thankfully, knock on wood, thankfully my desk is wood that I'm standing, next to right now. But knock on wood, nothing else has happened. In terms of anything else breaking or nothing has happened really besides this. So
He says this as his iPhone 6s shatters on the floor.
no, it's sitting perfectly fine on my desk unless
Okay.
the ghost randomly takes it and throws it on the floor. I don't know how that would happen, but
Anyway, sorry about that.
okay. The ghost of John Cena. Super Slam.
Super Slam iPhone 6s onto the floor. Okay, I had to do it. I'm sorry.
I had to do that. That was too. The opportunity was there, and I needed to take it. That
Yeah,
was
Josh needs to get a Super Slam your iPhone.
yeah. That should be the episode's title. Super Slam your iPhone.
All right, anyways, continue. I'm sorry.
Okay, so anyway, basically, so what ended up happening first is that sometimes when I'm editing, when I'm doing, a bunch of stuff relating to, using my computer, a lot of times I'll have, I'll sit down, with my desk, I'll sit down at my desk and I'll be eating, some type of food or whatever, and sometimes it's not always great to do that because a lot of times, some of the food that you're eating or whatever, hair or whatever ends up getting under.
So gross.
I know it's gross, but it's the reality of what
Yeah, I know.
ends up getting under, some of the keys in the keyboard. So I was looking, as I was just casually looking at my computer, I realized that there was a lot of dirt under, like a significant amount of dirt under my keys in my keyboard.
Yeah,
so I was like, all right, I have to do something about this. So I was taking, basically what I did was, and it was, pretty fine for the first couple of keys. I popped out, it's pretty nice because it just, you could, have something sharp and just kind of like put it under and then just pop it right out and then you could pop it back in. So basically what happened with this is I was, all the regular small keys, like let's just say the A key or the B key, that was doing okay. Even like the delete key and the escape key was fine. But when it came to the space bar, which was that was probably the biggest one that I had trouble with because that one had probably the biggest amount of dirt in it because the space bar is the largest key on the keyboard.
Right.
So because, of its size and because of all that kind of stuff, when I popped it out, for some reason, this one was a little bit different. The little thing that attaches it popped off with it, and it broke off. It broke off of the actual key itself. So I couldn't reattach it back onto the keyboard. It was not working. And I literally, I tried to, I literally tried to pop it back on, like for, I don't even know how long. It was at least an hour straight. An hour straight to at least an hour and a half to 2 hours. It was a long time that I kept trying to do because I was like, the last thing I want to do is bring this into Apple and be like, yeah, I was cleaning my keys and
I was stabbing my computer with a sharp object.
Right, that was the last thing I really wanted to do.
Right.
So I wanted to see if I could fix it myself, and it was kind of a confidence booster for me too. I was like, all right, I can fix this myself. Like, this is easy. I know what I'm doing. So it turns out I didn't know what I was doing because I broke the key and I wasn't able to fix it. So basically I was like, okay, there's no way around this. If I want to use my keyboard the way it's intended to be used, I have to take this in. So basically that, I think it was like maybe it was midweek. So I think maybe that Wednesday or Thursday, because I think it might have been like a Tuesday. That Wednesday or Thursday, so it was like a few days after. I took it into the Apple Store, and I actually so basically what happened with this is I came and I came to the Apple Store and they were telling me it's this specific thing. Basically what happened is that because the parts on back order, whatever the case may be, we're not able to actually go ahead and replace this today. So what we're going to do is, since this is on back order and since it would be really complicated, what we're going to do is we're just going to replace the entire keyboard itself, right? Okay, so whatever. It's more than needed to happen, but if the actual space bar is on back order and it would, take less time for them to get the parts for the actual, entire keyboard and just replace the entire thing, whatever, I'll have new keys. That's fine. As long as it's, as long as it fits and it's the right size for the keyboard, that's fine. It doesn't really matter. So whatever, that's cool. So what ends up happening is they end up being the wrong size. The keys on the keyboard were the wrong size.
Oh no!
Wait, so they installed them and they installed the wrong size keys.
Yeah.
How did they go through with it and not realize that they were the wrong size?
I honestly, well, they fit. They were just like really, really loose. It was like I could tell that something was up. I was like, this is not the right size. Like it looked like if you like looked at the computer from like a top up perspective, or sorry, a top down perspective, it would look perfectly normal. It would look fine. It's just when you looked at it for a little bit and played around with the keys, it was like tottering a little bit back and forth, and it was really loose on the keyboard itself. You could tell that the keys were not securely in there, that it was not fitting. So like, by using it for a little while, I guess they really just didn't do extensive tests on how the keyboard functioned after they installed it, which kind of seems a little bit odd to me. When you're replacing a keyboard, you probably want to do tests to make sure it works. But yeah, so I guess they didn't end up doing any tests because they didn't notice that the keyboard was too small, or the keys were too small for the keyboard itself. So what ended up happening is, all right, I have to fix this. So I go in again. So this time it was midweek and I had a lot of homework to do. So my mom was like, I'll bring it in for you. So basically my mom calls me. I get a phone call from my mom. My mom calls me. I pick up and she says, listen, they want me to ask you your password for your computer. And I'm thinking, what? Like, this doesn't make any sense. This doesn't add up because, first of all that I needed to fix was the little spacebar key. And I understand that wasn't, what was going on because of this whole thing they messed up. They screwed this entire rest of the thing up. Now I have to fix the entire rest of the keyboard. Before it was just a spacebar, but now it's the rest of the keyboard. So basically, after they did that, after I got a call from when I was getting a call from my mom said they need, a password. So I was like, why do they need a password if all that's wrong with it is the keyboard? Well, they want to do a diagnostic test. So I was a little skeptical about that because all I was taking it in for was the keys. There wasn't anything.
Why would they need to do that?
That's standard protocol. I think they do that for everything.
Oh, I hate that. That's so annoying.
I know.
I don't know. And I was questioning my mom. I was like, why do they need the password? Like, they don't need the password. Like, they don't need to see what's up. It's not that I have anything to hide. It was just really weird and like.
Me and my tinfoil hat. I try to avoid.
Yeah.
I avoid every diagnostic thing I can.
It was that, and just it didn't make any sense because all they were doing was replacing the keyboard. They didn't need access to my computer. They didn't.
That's ridiculous.
My computer could have been bricked, and they still would have been able to replace the keys. All they needed to do was just pop the keys, the right keys, on the keyboard. So they didn't need, physical, access to my computer at all, or not physical, but they didn't need software access to my computer. It could have been bricked, and they would have been fine with it. So basically, what happens? All this happens, and all this. Oh, I forgot in between that. They basically said, okay, so since we messed up on this, the real keyboard is on back order, the real one that we need, so that's going to take an additional 2 to 3 weeks. So far this has been like 3-4 weeks already that I've been having this problem ongoing because it's crazy because the parts aren't coming in right, and now it's not the right size, and it's on back order or whatever the case may be. So basically it was a few weeks in just in the middle of that. But anyway, so basically what happens after that is they replace the keys, and then I get the computer home. I'm all excited, and first things first, I plug in my headphones to my headphone jack on my computer because I needed to, for whatever reason. I was just like, okay, let's listen to music on earbuds or headphones or whatever. So I plug in my headphones to my computer, and I put them on, and I start playing a YouTube video or music or whatever it is, and I notice that it's not coming out of my headphones. It's coming out of the speaker of the computer. So I'm like, wait a minute, something's not coming out right. Something they must have tweaked something around because something's not working right. So I looked on the side of the side of the computer, and I noticed that this whole time they forgot to put the headphone jack back into the computer.
What?
So it was an empty.
What? That doesn't make any sense.
It was just an empty, headphone jack port. There was no actual part where you could plug it into. It was a little empty hole where you could plug, but there was nothing that was actually going into it. So this whole time I was just like super upset, and I was like, all right, we need to fix this. Like, they need to get it together because this is ridiculous. Because so far it's been like 5 weeks already. I've had to go back and forth like at least 4 times already to the Apple Store. And, they put the wrong keys on the keyboard. It was just like, it was a complete mess. So they ended up fixing it. And I was just super happy. I was like, I'm never letting anything happen to this thing again. Like, this is the last thing I want to happen. I don't want to wait another 4 to 5 weeks to be able to actually fix my computer and get it working right. So that's my horror story, all in all, even though that was long.
So my question is, why did they have to modify the headphone jack if they were just modifying the keyboard?
I actually forgot to say that. It's a good thing you reminded me of that. I was actually going to say that. I forgot about it. So basically what happened was, I guess it was a switch in the model making of whatever it was, but basically they described it as, well, the old keyboard that we used attached to the I don't even know, it's something similar as to what I'm saying, but keep in mind I'm paraphrasing because this was a long time ago, so I don't remember exactly what they said, but something like the old keyboard before was, hooked into the logic board, and that's how the headphone jack was fused into it. The headphone jack was fused into the logic board, which was fused into the keyboard. When we had to replace it, we couldn't find the older one, so we got the newer one, and the newer one doesn't have the headphone jack fused into it.
Oh my God.
That's basically how they described it. So they completely forgot the headphone jack in general, and they were like, oh, it's a separate part. We have to order that one too. So I spent an additional probably few days waiting for the headphone jack to come. So the whole thing was just a complete mess, and that was just all. I really just hope, knock on wood, a million times, like I said, that'll never happen again, because it was crazy.
Yeah,
To be honest, like, I know our issues were, all of our issues were bad, but I think that one tops it for, like, Apple screwing up.
I don't know.
Screwing up numerous
times.
times.
They misdirected me like 6 or 7 times, man. Like,
see, I kind of wonder if it was Apple, like Apple in general, because you have to remember, I was dealing with my local retail store. Like, it was Apple retail. So it might be different if it was like, just Apple's website going and getting but
maybe,
I don't know.
And I mean, I do give my Apple Store credit. They did, once I told the manager, like, listen, I need my computer, like, ASAP. I can't deal with this. Like, I'm falling behind in school because of this. They did get on it really quick. So I do give them credit because they did get on that very, very fast once I told them, like, look, I can't have this happening anymore.
Well, it was actually pretty interesting. It's funny you say that. I just remembered one of the parts of the story that was actually really interesting I forgot to mention is after all this happened, my dad was super upset because I was super upset. My dad was like, I know, this is ridiculous. Like, normally they're not like this. Like, this is ridiculous. We should, say something. So my dad basically talked the manager of the store into if we don't get this in another week, like if we don't get this part in another week and you're not able to fix this in another week and he's not able to have the computer functioning, the same way it always functioned before all this crap happened by, next week or whatever the case may be, then, I want a $50 gift card or something type of thing. Like, I want some compensation for this.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous. So we basically had the manager agree that if, by a certain time it wasn't in, they'd compensate us. So thankfully for them it was in, and thankfully for me it was in, but I was kind of disappointed that we didn't get compensated because I would like to have extra money lying around.
Yeah.
Store,
but see, that's the thing. I find that with Apple, in summary, like with Apple, it's, if you can really push them into doing something, they will do it. They will do it. It's just getting them to do it correctly that can be. But you know what? They are known for their customer service, and those are just some stories that we've had. But so tweet us with your story at JailbreakCast.
Absolutely.
If you have one, what is your worst ever, tech support / repair story that you ever had to deal with?
I really think mine tops it out of the three of ours. I don't know, man. I don't want to be biased, but it's Apple screwed up a lot.
Oh man!
In terms of like Apple screwing up like sequential, like time after time, I think David's like. I mean, like it was very frustrating because it was the entire phone bricked for me. But again, just like in terms of them repeatedly screwing up, I don't know.
Well, it was very frustrating because they repeatedly screwed up, and I thought my computer.
Yeah, how many trips did you have to make into the store, David, for yours? Because for me, it was like, I think I had 6.
Oh my god, that's
I'm pretty sure it was 4 or 5. I'm pretty sure
like,
it was a good amount.
Yeah, it was not a pleasant experience, but well, guys, like John Cena, all these horror stories have made me tap out for the night. So I think it's time to wrap this baby up.
Yes, I would agree.
Yeah. All right.
To end the podcast on a positive note, episode 20 next week.
Next week, that's
we're coming up on it.
Can't believe we've done 20 episodes. That's crazy.
20 episodes, the big 2-0.
I know it's crazy. It really is. It's something that we should be proud of, though.
Yeah. So please, share Jailbreak Weekly, with your friends, with everyone. We really appreciate the support for those of you who have been with us, for this ride so far, and hopefully something interesting will happen next week. And so. With that, I think that wraps up this podcast. Once again, my name is Justin Mack, and I have my co-hosts Andy Hoff and David Burns. I'll see you guys later.
See ya.
See you guys.
We messed up a lot while recording this episode. Here are some bloopers, and as always,
hey, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome all to Jailbreak Weekly, episode number 19. We are glad to be back here once again this week.
Name is John Cena.
You're stuck in the past, Andy. That was last week.
Yeah, geez, dude. Okay, can it get turned off now? Oh, stupid Superslam. Oh my god.
You know what? You did say no air horn, but you didn't say no John Cena.
No John Cena either.
He found a loophole. He always finds a loophole. He
always
manages to find a loophole.
I'm a jailbreaker. I said I did find a loophole.
Yeah. I can't. We'll see.
You guys suck. You guys are terrible.
Well, it's
you guys didn't show up at exactly 11:30.
No, well, see, I can't because there's no share button with my screen readers, so I can't tweet it out. I would, David, but I can't.
This is like the stupidest argument in the entire world.
Because I'm trying to imitate Andy, because that's what Andy sounds like.
Yeah,
like,
Andy,
you guys are terrible.
Yeah, Andy. By the way, Andy, I just have something to tell you.
Yeah.
You suck.
Thank you.
That's his revenge for saying you suck in the group chat last week, right?
Well, yeah, I said it this week too. Yeah, but anyways, it was weird with Siri doing that. Like it was seriously. So David, do you have any thoughts on this by any chance?
What are we talking about again?
What are you talking about? What the hell's going on? What's happening right now?
I completely zoned out.
Oh my god. that they asked, okay, so I know this is a strange question, but is there any jailbreaking going on? I was like, what? Like, what's jailbreaking?
Andy, you're
What's-
T-painting.
Wow,
Hang on.
yeah, that's a fun
Andy.
time to teach.
Andy, you're T-painting. Dude.
Man, that was horrible time. Like, I was on a roll. I was totally on a roll.
And I'm just. See, this is. I'm doing this on purpose because then I'll have the edge in our Twitter poll that we're gonna put up. You see, because I'm stalling your momentum.
Wait, how bad is it right now?
It's pretty bad.
Hello? Hey, can you still hear me?
Hey,
Hello? Alright, so am I breaking up right now?
No, you're good now.
No, yeah, I'll just...